In late 2007, as the Iraq War was winding down, as US declared victory and the reconstruction process began in the middle of the Iraqi desert. However, all the American builders on the pipeline site have been killed. So Sergeant Matthew and his spotter, Sergeant Isaac, are sent on a mission to find the person responsible for attacking the site before new builders arrive. The soldiers hide behind a clump of bushes and rocks to survey their position under the melting sun. 20 hours pass without any incident. Matthew starts to get impatient, thinking all the attackers are gone. Isaac notices that all the dead were shot in the head, probably by a famous Iraqi sniper named Juba. However, Matthew finds it hard to believe that one person could kill so many people in less than 30 seconds. Matthew gets tired of waiting and decides to investigate the location. He asks Isaac to cover for him. Isaac's scope is getting blurry, but he wants to keep using it because it belonged to a fallen comrade. Matthews examines the bodies and confirms that each victim was shot in the head. Despite Isaac's warnings, Matthews moves to the center of the site to figure out where the shots came from. Suddenly, he is shot in the stomach and collapses in pain. Isaac rushes towards Matthews, determined to help him, but he too is shot in the leg. With no other choice, Isaac leaves Matthews behind and takes cover behind a crumbling wall. Despite the intense pain, Matthews calls out to Isaac, urging him to call for backup. However, Isaac realizes that his leg wound is serious and quickly ties a belt around it to stop the bleeding. He then tries to use his radio, only to discover that the antenna has been shot, leaving him unable to call for help. Matthews then contacts Isaac, telling him to keep an eye on the sniper for an opportunity to strike. Isaac starts to make a hole in the wall with his knife to insert the scope, but as he does, rocks fall and hit him, causing him to collapse unconscious. As Matthews tries to grab his rifle, he faints from the loss of blood. Isaac, determined not to suffer the same fate as his friend, uses a blade to remove the bullet from his leg. He then wraps a bandage around the wound before losing consciousness himself. When Isaac wakes up, he hears a strange noise from his earpiece. It's an officer from the base. Isaac quickly reports the situation and asks for medical supplies. However, he grows suspicious when the officer asks strange questions and tells him to reveal his exact location or shoot in the air to guide the helicopters. Isaac correctly points out that this is against protocol and would endanger him. Isaac realizes the officer's accent isn't American and correctly deduces that it's actually the Juba sniper, who hacked into the radio to trick him. Despite the threat, Isaac refuses to engage in personal conversation with Juba. Instead, he tries to use the radio again, but it still doesn't work. Juba keeps asking trivial questions, and when Isaac refuses to play along, Juba threatens to shoot Matthews again. To buy time and gather information, Isaac agrees to chat and asks Juba to go first. While Juba talks, Isaac starts to draw a map of the area in the dirt to calculate where the sniper might be hiding. Juba tries to convince Isaac that he's just an ordinary Iraqi trying to save his country. He asks Isaac about his family, but Isaac finds this too personal to discuss. Isaac mocks Juba's justification for killing people who are involved in developing Iraq, but Juba laughs and points out that the money made will later benefit the US economy. Juba continues to ask questions, but Isaac refuses to reveal anything personal. Juba threatens to shoot Matthews again, but Isaac no longer believes him. To prove he's a threat, Juba tells Isaac the name of the scope's previous owner. Damn! Juba has been listening to their conversations ever since he arrived. Isaac notices a dead man with a radio, but he can't drag his body to the edge of the wall without exposing himself. Isaac tries to drink from his bottle but finds it empty due to a hole. Juba admits he didn't miss a shot. He specifically aimed at the bottle, the antenna, and Isaac's leg to put him in a difficult situation and enjoy hearing about his slow demise. Then, Isaac removes the bullet from his leg, examines it closely, and begins to determine the model of Juba's weapon. Then, He calls Juba a terrorist, but Juba laughs, arguing that Americans are the ones entering foreign countries with weapons. As Juba talks, Isaac calculates and looks through his scope, concluding that Juba is hiding under a large pile of trash. He's impressed by Juba's professionalism, considering the harsh conditions and heat. However, Juba denies being the famous sniper and insists he's just a regular Iraqi man. Judging by his accent, Isaac assumes that Juba must be a former U.S. Army officer who betrayed them, but Juba rejects this as well, explaining that he only kills people who attack him first. Later, Juba reveals the secret of Isaac on how he met his best friend as a child and how they later enlisted together as adults. Dehydration and exhaustion soon begin to take a toll on Isaac, who collapses to the ground. After this, Isaac tries to trick Juba by putting a jacket and helmet on his rifle and swinging it over the wall, but Juba doesn't fall for it. The helmet falls off, landing on the other side of the wall, so now even Isaac can't protect his head. Such a silly mistake surprises Juba and makes him laugh. More time passes, and Isaac becomes desperate enough to try to take the risk. He runs to a dead body lying on the ground and dodges all the bullets Juba throws at him before stealing his bag and radio and running back to the wall. In the bag, Isaac finds water and some candy, which he immediately eats. Unfortunately, this radio is also not working. Juba punishes him for this risk by shooting into the wall and heavily damaging his scope. Suddenly, Isaac hears some disturbing sounds from his earpiece and realizes it is Matthews, who is still alive. Isaac yells the sniper's position at him, and Matthews immediately pulls out a piece of metal to use to look at the pile of trash. While Matthews moves extremely slowly to grab his rifle, Isaac distracts the sniper with small talk and learns that Juba was a teacher in Baghdad. When his student is killed in an American attack, he decides to take revenge. The wall behind which Isaac hides is the ruins of that school. Juba questions Isaac as he carries the damaged scope, but as Isaac refuses to answer, Juba threatens to shoot Matthews again. Desperate to save him, Isaac admits that he has access to the memory of his old friend who died because of a mistake Isaac made, and he still feels guilty. Meanwhile, Matthews picks up his rifle and so Isaac blindly fires in the air to distract Juba. Matthews then blindly aims at the pile of trash and fires all the bullets until stops to reload his gun, but Juba suddenly shoots him in the shoulder and in the back. Isaac tells Matthews to crawl towards him to seek safety behind the wall, but unfortunately, as Isaac approaches the ledge for help, Juba shoots Matthews in the head. Isaac finally breaks down, saying he wants to go home. Juba tells Isaac that if he wants to leave, he won't shoot him, but Isaac is suspicious. Later, Juba asks Isaac why he is there, even though the war is already over. Isaac pauses for a moment before replying that he is there because he was indeed the one who killed his old friend. It turns out he accidentally shot his previous sniper partner while trying to kill the enemy, and Isaac lied to everyone, saying his friend was killed by the bad guys. Suddenly, Isaac hears some noise from the radio. He runs to check the signal. However, his happiness is short-lived as he hears voices but cannot send any messages due to damage to the radio. To Isaac's shock, Juba joins the conversation he's been listening to and uses Isaac's name to ask for help. Isaac eventually realizes that Juba has been hacking into American communications all this time, pretending to be a soldier who needs help to lure the backup team into the area and kill them all easily. Isaac tries to interrupt the conversation to no avail. Moments later, Isaac awakes to the painful sensation of a crow pouncing on his leg wound. Even the birds think he's already dead. Isaac decides to take a risk and uses some rope and a stick to retrieve Matthew's rifle. Then, he stares at the trash pile. At that moment, helicopters arrive in the area, and doubting it might be a trap, Isaac pushes the wall, creating a curtain of dust to shoot at the trash pile, seeking to save the incoming soldiers. Isaac finally gets up from his position, doubting he shot his target. But, to his surprise, Juba isn't using this opportunity to fire back. This leads Isaac to believe that he has effectively killed Juba. Soon, the helicopter landed and quickly took Isaac to a stretcher, immediately giving him medical treatment. Isaac tried to tell them about Juba. But, suddenly, Juba started firing at them, killing the medics one by one before hitting the pilot as well. The helicopter quickly descended and crashed to the ground, killing Isaac instantly, and Juba kept his word not to shoot him. So Juba crashed him. Juba then hacked into USA lines again and pretended to be an American soldier to lure his next victims.